The BMW Championship delivered one of the most dramatic final rounds of the season. Wyndham Clark watched a five-shot lead evaporate as Rory McIlroy charged back, only to respond with 3 consecutive birdies to close out the victory. But what happened after the final putt dropped has the golf world demanding answers. McIlroy fired back at Clark's "I'm one of the best players in the world" declaration, and his response reveals a rivalry that's just getting started. Wyndham Clark entered the final round of the BMW Championship at 17 under par, holding a commanding 5-shot lead over Rory McIlroy and Patrick Cantlay. He had been phenomenal through 3 rounds, opening with back-to-back 64s before firing a third-round 65. But we've seen this movie before. Clark carried a large advantage into the final round of the US Open earlier this summer before watching that lead disappear. Sunday at Bellerive brought the same. McIlroy kept applying pressure while Clark struggled to create separation. "I would say after the second shot on 1, he said when asked when he knew he wasn't in the right mental space. He bogeyed the first and didn't card a single birdie until the final 3 holes of the day. I wasn't there mentally, so when he got it close, Dave, my caddy, said, 'Hey, our back's against the wall, and that's when you play some of your best golf.'" The 5-shot advantage was completely gone by the 11th hole when McIlroy birdied to tie the score. With the score tied and the pressure mounting, Clark's back was against the wall, but this is where the 2-time US Open champion earned his stripes. On the par 3 16th hole, Clark had a high 5-iron to roughly the same distance as McIlroy's perfect tee shot. Then came the gamesmanship. There's some stuff that you do out there that I wouldn't call it poor gamesmanship, but when it gets close to who is who, sometimes there's strategy in who goes first. So when we got up to 16, we kind of didn't know who it was, and I said, "It's me." So I went, made the putt. And whether that did anything or not, sometimes putting the pressure on the guy can, be difficult. The birdie on 16 changed the momentum. Then came the decisive blow. McIlroy made a stupid decision on the 17th. "I should have been taking that left bunker out of play. If you're gonna lay it up, lay it up." So just another stupid decision with a layup on a par 5 that cost me. McIlroy bogeyed the 17th, while Clark birdied it. The margin was now insurmountable. After securing his 3rd victory of the season, the CJ Cup Byron Nelson, the US Open, and now the BMW Championship, Clark made a statement that caught everyone's attention. "I'm one of the best players in the world. Everyone gives me a hard time and roots for other people, but I've come into my own. It's my best season yet, coming off my worst year." The declaration was bold. Clark's 2025 season had been a disaster, marked by inconsistent play and a reputation that had turned him into a villain. But 2026 has been a redemption story. 3 wins, including a 2nd major championship, have forced the golf world to take notice. Clark also addressed the fan treatment. Earlier in the week, he joked about playing the villain by saying Darth Vader had more fun. After the victory, he acknowledged why McIlroy received the support. "They still treated me great. I just think, Rory's earned the right to be a fan favorite, so, I embraced it." The man who was once the villain is now making a case for Player of the Year. Despite the devastating defeat, McIlroy remained classy as ever. As the two embraced on the 18th green, McIlroy had some special words of praise for Clark. "Great character. That was awesome. Well done." The 6-time major champion later explained his mindset. "I can't be too disappointed. I'm not playing well enough to be too disappointed to no win. I had my chances, but Wyndham stepped up. The way he played the last 3 holes, he showed a lot of character." But McIlroy also admitted his own shortcomings. He struggled off the tee, saying he didn't hit his first fairway until the 10th hole. His game is still a work in progress, he acknowledged, after taking 3 weeks off and missing the practice that could have sharpened his form. The man who once dominated the playoffs is still searching for his form. McIlroy's post-tournament comments also shifted the Player of the Year conversation. At the start of the week, McIlroy was adamant that Scottie Scheffler was the Player of the Year, but Clark's win at the BMW Championship has forced him to reconsider. "I mean, it's sort of all to play for next week," McIlroy said. "Wyndham doing what he did today, yeah, next week will make things interesting." McIlroy acknowledged that if Clark wins the Tour Championship, it'll be very hard not to vote for the two-time U.S. Open champion. But he also defended Scheffler's candidacy. "If you look at Scottie's statistical profile, it's just like he's number one in strokes gained, he's number one in scoring average, he's number one in so many statistical categories." The debate is far from settled, and the Tour Championship will likely decide it. Wyndham Clark's victory at the BMW Championship has changed the conversation. He has 3 wins, including a major, and he just beat McIlroy head-to-head in a playoff event. The Player of the Year debate is now a legitimate 3-way race between Clark, Scottie Scheffler, and perhaps even Chris Gotterup or Matt Fitzpatrick. But McIlroy's classy response reveals a deeper truth. The Northern Irishman knows he's not at his best. He's still searching for the form that made him a 6-time major champion, and he knows that if he wants to win another title, he'll have to go through Clark to get it. The question now is, can McIlroy rediscover his form at the Tour Championship, or has Clark officially surpassed him as the game's biggest star?